Oh no. Okay, guys. I've just weighed myself. This is the second episode of Street Monk. Street Monk, guys. I've just. If you guys can remember, I'm on my fasting. 5 days. 5 days now today. So I went to the scale in front and I weighed myself. I'm 98. 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, sorry, I was 100. So, which is right because the sugar first needs to leave your body, right? All the sugar needs to go. Once that is done, you can start to lose weight. You can't lose weight with any sugar in your body. So, it takes about 2 to 3 days for the sugar to get out of your system. After that, you start to lose weight. So I've lost, let's say, 1 kilo per day now for the last 2 days. Because the first 3 days, I think it's just getting rid of sugar. Hey, it's going to start raining here. Oof, 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 oof. It's going to start raining, honey. Angel is there in her room. I don't know what she's doing on her phone. Wow, it's very cloudy. Very cloudy. I want to be careful here because last time yesterday the rain somehow got in here, the water. I don't know how, but yeah, so it's probably gonna rain a bit. I'm gonna take my shoes inside and take them off here inside. Okay, cool. Maybe close this gate. Yeah. Angel wants to cook later. I'll turn the lights on now. There was a blackout. The lights just came back. So anyway, leave the door for a moment. Wait till it starts to rain. Hello, Angel. Angel is on her phone. She's not in a mood to talk now, I think. So cool. I'm 98 kilos today. Possibly 97. I'm wearing heavy denims, so yeah. So let's talk about something, I don't know, something spiritual maybe. I think last time I was telling you guys how I met Mario, the Japanese ninja. I spent about quite a number of years with him, 16 years to be precise. So I met him there in Taichung in Taiwan. And he took me out and we had some beers and he showed me the Shaolin Temple pamphlet. So the funny thing was, that was 1993, right? The funny thing was that 1998, more or less, I was in Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong I don't remember, for a visa, I think. So anyway, I was in Chongqing Mansion, Chongqing, the infamous Chongqing Mansions in TST, Tim Sat Tsui. And I was just waiting for the lift. The lift is, Chongqing have these small lifts, so there are always long lines of people waiting, for the lifts. And I was just waiting there to go up to the travel agent on the 16th floor, and when the lift stopped and the doors opened, there was a big guy, with a beard, and he had a peg leg, and he looked at me and he pointed at me and he said, "You want to go to Shaolin?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I stepped in and he stayed inside the lift, so we both went up together again, and he pulled out a name card of somebody in Shaolin Temple, and he says, "Okay, I recommend this place, blah blah blah." So I took it, And we went upstairs to the travel agent, chatted for another hour or so. So he was on the way to go to Thailand, and I think I was just in Thailand the year before or so, 98, 90, or that year, maybe 98. So anyway, that was 1998. So a full 5 years after Mario recommended I should go to Shaolin. So I had this. So this idea was kind of stuck in my head. I was thinking, I should go to Shaolin. And a few months later, I was back in Hong Kong, and I I bought a ticket to a train ticket from Hong Kong. You can take a train across the border into China, all the way up to Henan. The Chengzhou is the capital city of Henan province in China. That's where Shaolin Temple is. So I had a ticket in my pocket, and the night before I was supposed to take the train, I went to some dodgy bars, and well, long story short, basically somebody spiked my drink, and I woke up minus all my money. And luckily I had them all in traveler's checks. I had about 6,000 US dollar in traveler's checks, so it was a huge amount. I made that in about 6 months teaching in Taiwan, and I was really exhausted. So that was why I decided to go to Shaolin. And so overnight, my traveler's checks disappeared. Somebody spiked my drink, and I just reported that the next day to the morning to the police, and called the travel checks company. And then I had to get on the train. So luckily there was a free bus from where I was to the station. So I took the free bus, got to the station, got on the train, and there I went without any money. I had zero money. So I got into China without any money. My first trip to China, Red China. And I got to the middle of China, got down, and basically I had to survive because I couldn't go anywhere. I found a hotel, explained to them what happened. I could speak Chinese pretty well then, probably better than I can do now. And I explained to them what happened, and they agreed that I can stay there till the money comes through from the travel agents. But not the travel checks guys. So I was staying there and paying daily for this room, quite expensive actually, but at least it included a breakfast, like rice and vegetable. So the travel checks guys were playing very tough. They absolutely refused. They accused me of faking my the loss, of the traveler's check and da da da. So I kept calling for 30 days, 30 days, and then eventually they realized that they have to pay me out. So they paid me out, and 30 days later, and I paid the hotel and so on. And then I continued my ride up to Henan, and from there I took a bus to the Shaolin Temple. So when I arrived at the Shaolin Temple, I walked. I walked up I asked around. I had the card, remember? So so you walk. I came to the temple, and they pointed me onwards, 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 and I walked, and I walked. I got up to the mountains behind the temple, and I walked up the mountain, and then suddenly there was a building and a big bare grounds where they trained on. So the master there, Shi Yanzang was his name, Yanzang, and Shi means temple. Shaolin Shi. So all the monks, all the people who studied at the temple, they call themselves temple. The first name or the sorry, the surname. Okay, so Shi and Wang was the um, master of the school, and he came out big guy. He was a big bloke, a big, strong-looking guy. He weighed about 100 kilos, about the same as me, I guess. And we took a little walk, and I we spoke in Chinese because he couldn't speak a word of English, and he was very impressed that I could speak Chinese. So when I told him, I showed him the name card, the business card with his name on it, and I explained to him about that American guy. He said, "Oh yeah, I remember the guy. He was here. He trained here." Okay, so that was cool. And he said, "Okay, you can stay here. You can stay here for free. You can eat. I'll give you a room for free, bed, and you can eat for free and do the daily training, all for free. But if I need you for translation purposes, then you help me out." Okay, so we agreed on that. So yeah, and then the first night, so that was already late afternoon, and so the sun was. He showed me there's your room and so on, and there's a bed in there, and then the sun was kind of setting, and I could see the guys. So there are many students. They all finished training now. Sun is setting, and I asked him where we can shower. So there was a river running down the mountain, not too far away, a little bit down. So basically, he said you can follow this footpath. You follow it. So it was already dark now. It was already dark. So I took uh, my soap and stuff in a plastic bag, and I walked along the footpath. Everybody had these little flashlights in their hands, these little torches, except me, of course. So I walked along, and then suddenly the footpath came to a cliff, and I kept walking very carefully, holding my one hand on the cliff, on the rocks, trying to walk slowly but surely forwards. And then suddenly, as I stepped, there was nothing there. Boom! And I was falling. I let go of the plastic bag. It dropped maybe 10 meters onto the rocks, and I grabbed hold of. Luckily, I somehow grabbed hold of a small bush, like a small plant, a small tree, almost like grew out of the rock face. Grabbed hold of that, and my legs were my legs were really overextended, and my back was bent, to my back bent to one side, and I just managed to hang on, and I slowly but surely managed to crawl back onto the ledge, and then I just hobbled back to my room. So in the morning when I woke up, my whole my two I noticed the one leg here was shorter than the other leg, and it was really uncomfortable, really really uncomfortable, and I could hardly walk. But I got up. We had to get up at 5. Well, we had to get up before 5. So you want to be outside at 5, and then we had to run up the mountain, the really tall mountain. We were already in the foothills of the mountain. So we ran up there, came back, and and the pain got worse and worse, and eventually, um, the like about 11 o'clock, I couldn't go much more, and the trainer, he's like, "Ah, you have to run, you have to do this, you have to jump, you have to fucking do this." So I said, "Hey, come here," and I put his hand on my back, and there was a bloody bump as big as an egg standing out from my back, and his eyes just went like this, and he's like, "Oh, okay, 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 go back to the room." But you know what? I actually I took my foot in both hands, and I straightened my leg, and and everybody could hear as that. I don't know what was wrong with my back, but I nearly collapsed. Two guys then came and took me back to the room, and I stayed there the whole day. And the next day, I started training seriously. So, but for that gave me respect to the guys there. Like I straightened out my own leg, and I pulled back whatever was wrong. The bone, and so that gave me a lot of respect. And yeah, okay, okay, guys, that's my little story of my first day at Shaolin and my first month in China. Next time I will tell you guys a bit more about it. But hey, okay, cool. Amidofo. Cheers.